Monstervision Summer School on TNT is brought to you by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
The Beastmaster, a modern classic. I really do think it's better than Conan the Barbarian. Even though Don Coscarelli, the director of The Beastmaster, totally disavows it. He's ashamed of it. Don Coscarelli, who of Phantasm fame. All right, we have 2 more Beastmaster movies tonight and a visit from renowned pet psychic Dr. Richard Berman. But I want to remind you that next week my special guest will be Wes Craven himself, the master, and we'll be showing 2 of his best flicks, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, followed by The Serpent and the Rainbow, and it's Philosophy Night in honor of Wes's past life as a professor of philosophy. We'll both be lecturing on philosophy next week. And then 2 weeks from tonight, we have Ice-T for Black Studies Night. Ice-T is going to be here with one of his movies. It's not too late if you're not enrolled in Joe Bob's Summer School. Just go to the website and find out how you can take the test that will result in a Joe Bob's Summer School diploma, good for 3 credit hours at Jefferson Davis Vocational Technical High School in Bogalusa, Louisiana. But in order to do that, you've got to watch all, or at least most, of the 10 weeks between 4th of July and Labor Day. Otherwise, you won't be able to answer all the questions on the test. All right, we're going to go ahead and roll Beastmaster 2 through the portal of time. Now, remember, this one was made 10 years after Beastmaster 1. Mark Singer doesn't look a lot different. He might be a little beefier. But I'll tell you the story of how this sequel happened at the first commercial break. For right now, I'll just give you the vitals on it. We have 49 dead bodies, 2 motor vehicle chases with explosion, hunchback zombie cannibal swamp thing, laser fireballs, avalanche, sword fighting, face-eating tiger, arrow through the throat, face-chewing eagle, Mazda Miata worship, Kung Fu, Ferret Fu, Zoo Fu. 2 stars on this one, and I'm being a little generous. After you've seen the original, you just can't deal with pale imitations. But check it out, and we'll see you throughout the movie. And also, we're going to be communing with a dog during the movie, thanks to crack pet psychic Dr. Richard Berman, who at this very moment is right here getting ready to communicate with the animal. What if we read the dog's mind and he's thinking, wow, get a load of Ernie's leg over there.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
A little cheesier than the first one, don't you think? Lower budget one, direct to video. See, what happened was the Beastmaster came out in 1982, and it did okay, but not great. MGM did it. And then Ted Turner, our leader, bought all the MGM film library, and he got the Beastmaster, and they played it 978 times on cable, mostly over on TBS. So the original producers noticed this whole new audience for the movie, and they call up Mark Singer, and they ask him to dust off his loincloth and start talking to the animals again. They got the money together. The producer decides to direct it himself, Silvio Tabet, and they replaced Tanya Roberts because she doesn't do nudity anymore, and they used this MTV gal named Kari Wurer, only she doesn't do nudity either, so what's the point of that? They got a tiger instead of a panther. They brought back the 2 ferrets. They got an eagle instead of a falcon or a hawk or a pterodactyl or whatever that thing was in the first one. They got my buddy Wings Hauser, Mr. B-movie meanie himself, to play the evil overlord Arklon. They spent big bucks on the poster, the promotion, the special effects, and then after they finished the movie, they realized, darn, they forgot one thing. They forgot to write a script. You'll see what I mean right now where this thing gets really, really strange. Okay, go. But wait a minute. Dr. Richard Berman, known as the Dr. Doolittle of Dallas, is standing by at this very moment with his top canine, Pouchet, the French word for poodle, still preparing for our upcoming pet psychic segment. But in order to do this, Pouchet must first sing a full chorus of Clyde McCoy's famous Sugar Blues, accompanied by Dr. Berman on the concert cornet. A little late on the ending. The coda.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
You see what I mean? I don't think so. I think a barbarian movie tends to fall apart when it hits the freeways of L.A. And when you have a Valley-speak MTV girl driving her Mazda Miata into the land of Iraq and rapping with the Beastmaster. I mean, the first one had its goofy moments, but this one is just absolutely wacko. Anyway, Animal ESP is our theme tonight, and to continue with our parade of illustrious animal experts, we now welcome Richard Berman, who since 1960 has been involved in metaphysics and parapsychology, especially with animals, and he's going to tell us just how this stuff works. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Joe Bob.
All right. Who was your friend that did the singing at the last break?
Oh, that was Pouchet, the
singing
standard poodle.
Singing standard poodle. How long have you had her?
Him.
Him.
He
Sorry.
used to be a him, now he's an it.
Oh, okay.
I've had him since about 2 years. Got him when he's 7, and he was 9 January 1st. He's a Capricorn.
I see.
And he has a strong-willed mind, like most Capricorns, a goat.
I guess you need to know what sign they are in order to talk to them. Huh?
Well, no, I don't need to know that sign, but it helps.
It helps.
It's like people.
Yeah? Okay.
If you know their sign, it helps.
Do you know what he's thinking at all times? Or does he know what you're thinking?
He tunes in to me regularly. He follows me everywhere I go. He likes my daughter and loves me, and he tries to protect me from other animals. I have him on a leash walking him, and he will try to fight any dog that comes near me.
Yeah? Now, people call you up, right, when they want to find out what their pet is thinking.
Yes,
right?
they do. They call me. We have a session. Not only do I read the animal, but I read the person.
Yeah? I bet you find out more about the person, right?
No. Yes and no. There's one case where I did a session with a small French poodle, and the poodle told me that this particular owner was spending more time with his girlfriend than with him, and he was upset.
Really?
That's in one of my videos that I did in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Did you tell the poodle to change or the owner to change?
Well, the owner had to change because the dog was a little hacked off at him.
Yeah?
And this was verified. Any psychic work has to be verified to be believable.
Yeah.
And I can usually prove it.
What if you talk to the dog or the cat and you find out that the pet just doesn't like this owner? You got an ethical dilemma there, right? Because you're taking money from the owner.
Well, we have a situation, I can't tell you what it is, but there's a particular dog in our neighborhood that likes me better than the owner.
Yeah?
And when this dog sees me, pulls the owner's arm off to get to me.
Yeah?
So he knows where his bread is buttered because I always pat this dog.
You could never accept that dog as a client, though.
No, I couldn't.
That would be a conflict of interest.
Well, this particular man, I don't think
They call that
this.
transference.
Right.
In psychiatry. You know, the
Right.
dog would fall in love with you.
Right.
You would have to suggest another therapist.
That's right. Well, animals do fall in love with me. They tune in to me like I tune into them on the wavelength. And they're more intelligent than you think they are.
I'm sure they are. When you talk to the pet, you ask the owner to leave the room?
No.
Because it could be embarrassing.
No, it's right. They're right in the room.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Richard, we're going to go back to the movie now, but I want you to stick around a little bit
I
because
will.
I'm interested in this whole area of pet telepathy. Roll the movie. Are they watching our every move, Richard?
They watch every move. They tune into your brain, your receiving center. Our brain is a sending and a receiving center.
Yeah?
More complicated than any computer in the world.
That could make you paranoid.
No, not really.
Millions of pet spies.
Well, this might be a good idea. Maybe in the next big one, we'll have the pet spies.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
They're in two different movies, aren't they? Kari just doesn't quite get it, does she? And is it my imagination, or is Mark Singer doing a kinder, gentler Beastmaster in this movie? Everything's so mellow out there in barbarian land this time around. They're just kind of vegging out there in the desert, hanging with the animals, getting down by the campfire, listening to those lost hounds searching for souls to drag down into the abyss. But you know, in the first movie, we would have seen those gall-darn lost hounds. We wouldn't have just talked about them. Okay, well, speaking of hounds, we have a man right here who talks to the hounds, Richard Berman, pet psychic. And what's a typical thing, Richard, that a person wants to find out about their pet?
Well, primarily, they want to find out what their animal thinks of their lives.
Of the animal's life or the human's life?
Both.
Yeah.
And they know that the animals can read them better than they can read the animal.
Yeah.
So they come and they want to know if they're happy and what's bothering them, if they have any problems.
I see. And you're also a healer, right?
I have the
So
gift
you can put the animal on the couch there and lay hands on it.
Right.
Make it better.
I've done that, as well as people.
Yeah?
There's a case where this dog's hindquarters were gone, and I was called in to work with healing, and that dog recovered completely. And,
Really?
yes. And the woman is a dog trainer and also boards dogs. And,
Yeah.
and she's a believer, too, but this amazed her.
And she's born again now, I'm sure, huh?
Well, she's a born-again Jewish gal. But the most interesting thing that happened, I lived in Switzerland doing parapsychology and so forth in the Italian part of Switzerland, Lugano. And I gave some lectures in Zurich and came back. In Switzerland and in Europe, we don't have closets. We have armoires.
Yeah.
So I put my suitcase on top of this armoire and pulled my arm out. And I was writhing in pain, and I go, my wife didn't give me any sympathy at all, so I go in the bedroom and close the door, and I was in terrible pain. I had a dog, Major, who was Bulldog Lab combination. He looked more like the Bulldog. The mother was English Bulldog. He opened that door, a metal door, came in and put his muzzle on me and healed me instantly.
Wow, the laying on of paws.
Laying on a pause. So I sent the story in to Maurice Barbanel, who's now deceased, but he was head of the Psychic News in England. So he did an article, Dog Heals Healer. So I got many contacts on that. People
Wow,
getting in
we're
touch
all
with-
connected, aren't we?
We're all connected.
What do you think about ferrets? Where do they rank on the intelligence scale?
I think they're very intelligent. My dog thinks they stink, though. He was here. He doesn't like their smell.
Didn't like the ferrets.
He didn't like the smell. It's a different smell. He says they don't smell like a dog or a cat.
Do all animals have brains, or are some of them just kind of stupid?
Oh, no, they all have brains.
Yeah.
And they have more brains than you think. For example, they say a bird has a bird brain.
Yeah.
Well, they have a bird brain, but they can think, too. I had one parakeet when I was in high school that I taught to play ping pong, put the ball back and forth on a table for me.
Wow, you could put together a whole vaudeville act with just what
Yes, I
these
could.
animals can do.
That's right.
What's the smartest animal?
Well, they say the dolphin is.
Yeah.
And there was a movie that this gentleman made, George Scott, with the dolphins. That was phenomenal.
Right, Day of the Dolphin.
The Day of the Dolphin. Fantastic movie.
Right.
And one of my favorites.
Well, they also say the killer whale is maybe the
Yes,
smartest. But
yes.
You think the dolphin.
I think the dolphin is a very, very smart animal.
What's the dumbest animal besides a cable TV executive?
Well, that's hard to say. For example, it's like people. In different breeds and animals, some are smart and some are dumb.
Yeah.
So if you get a dumb animal, get rid of them. Get one that's smarter.
Oh, okay. So there's no dumb animals in your book, huh?
No.
Okay. All right, Richard, this has been great. How long you been at this?
Oh, since about 1960.
Wow, terrific. Well, we're going to go back to the movie now, but we appreciate your being with us, and good luck
Enjoyed.
at your next animal powwow.
Well,
animal
I have
seance.
I have seminars where people bring their animals,
Okay,
and they enjoy it.
roll it. All dogs go to heaven, right?
They do another thing. Animals, as you know, when we cross over to the next dimension, our loved ones are there to get us. This has been proven.
And I bet you can talk to them.
Well, yes, I do. They
On the
come
other
to right. Also, our pets greet us when we go over to the other side too. Our loved ones, friends,
Yeah.
and pets.
I can just see it now. It's a picture like the poker playing dogs. With
Right.
all these dogs around a seance table, right?
They do. In fact, I have playing cards with that in case you want a package of them.
I knew you would have those, Richard. Okay,
Right.
back to the movie. Thanks.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
Well, now we're getting into Jerry Lewis territory here. That scene in the clothing store is just like a wacky Jerry Lewis movie, isn't it? And they're doing this in a Beastmaster movie. The horror, the horror. I do like the police chief, though. That's James Avery as the guy who tells his assistant to run a check on all loincloth freaks. And Tirana, she's okay. That's Sarah Douglas in that part. I don't know what she's doing in the movie exactly, but the performance is okay. Art Klon, you're as subtle as a rabid rhino. Somebody actually wrote that line. Can you imagine that? I mean, I can see maybe it would come into your head, right? And then you crumple up the paper and you throw it away. But this time it's actually in the movie. Amazing. The Beastmaster trilogy, one of the finest expressions of supernatural animal husbandry in the latter 20th century. We're halfway through. Hang in there. Whoa.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
Well, the hits just keep on coming, don't they? So what you're trying to tell me, Bendowski, is that there's some stranger running around with a laser beam blowing the brassieres off mannequins? I shall feed on your memories and know all that you know. Tell Daddy I'm going to stop World War III. Aha. We got the comic butler, we got the gay clothing salesman, we've got a sitcom here, I would say. How far have we fallen from the majesty of the Beastmaster? This movie is actually making me long for Tanya Roberts, and that's pathetic. Go ahead, roll it. Kari Wurer. Or is it Carrie Wurer? I think this was the first in a series of one starring roles for Carrie.
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
How come Kari Wurer always just happens to be driving by when everything happens? And why do I think that this whole script was written so that they could save money and they wouldn't have to film out in the desert for 8 weeks like they did on the first movie? I don't mean to be cynical, but yeah, I do. I'm pretty dang cynical. I'm sure they love this movie in Pakistan and everything, but where are the Juns? Where's the child sacrifice? Where are the skulls on pikes? Where are the bone-crushing freaks, the torture chambers? If they're in L.A. already, they could at least go to a leather bar. Forget it. Roll the movie. You know what? You can't be gay and an animal rights activist, can you? No leather!
Back to Monstervision host Professor Joe Bob Briggs and Beastmaster 2 on TNT.
I only have one question. Where did the big fiery pit of hell come from? They're in the Griffith Park Zoo, right? Where does it say in the movie that if you go to Griffith Park, the earth will open up and create a big fiery pit of hell? This is obviously a cheap attempt to avoid building a big fiery pit like they had in the first movie on a temple of sacrifice where you can throw screaming extras in as part of a strange barbarian ritual. Where are the strange barbarian rituals? I want to know. They're in L.A. They can't find strange barbarian rituals? Give me a break. Believe it or not, the movie is not over. Watch this. Where's the rape? Where's the pillage? Where's the sacking of entire civilizations, you know? Go to South Central, man.
Back to Professor Joe Bob's Last Call and Beastmaster 3 on TNT.
Well, at least they learned their lesson after the first sequel, because Beastmaster 3 came out in 1996. We're going to show it in just a minute, and you'll see that they're back to Barbarian Land for the whole picture. No more parallel universe bull stuff or whatever that was. You know what's really unforgivable about Part 2? They don't even use the animals very much. What's the point if he doesn't use the animals? Okay, I want to remind you that Wes Craven will be our guest next week, and then 2 weeks from tonight, Ice-T will be here for Black Studies Night. But right now, it's time for the segment we call Joe Bob's Advice to the Hopeless, and to help us out is a girl who always looks good in animal skin. I speak, of course, of the TNT male girl, Rusty.
I never wear fur.
That's not true.
I heard you talking about it earlier. I would never wear fur.
You've worn fur on this show.
All right, but I would never own fur. Maybe it was something the wardrobe department provided.
Oh, the wardrobe. You mean you don't really work for the U.S. Postal Service?
Why don't they just use fake fur anyway?
Because they like to stay warm.
Fake fur is warm.
You ever been to Siberia?
No.
There is no fake fur in Siberia, because if they don't stay warm, they die.
Well, in Texas, there's no reason to use real fur.
Yes, there is.
What reason?
Neiman Marcus would go out of business if they didn't.
That's what I thought. Here, tonight's letter is from Natalie Assay of the Internet.
All right. Mr. Joe Bob, I recently viewed a television production with you hosting Monstervision. While watching the movie Carrie, you briefly discussed scenes in the movie during presentation breaks. I honestly didn't appreciate your comments about some particular scenes. I am a young college student and usually very open-minded about opinions and thoughts, but I found yours to be inappropriate. The comment made about the couple in the car, something along the lines of, something happened in the car, something guys like, if you know what I mean. I can only tell you that some people may not understand what you mean. Small children could have been viewing that program, and they didn't need to know about what happened in the car. I was offended by your thoughts and comments expressed throughout your presentation. I also didn't find it appropriate that you were holding a can of beer in your hands while you were speaking. Where is my beer tonight? Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't give a very good impression. I would appreciate it if you would please consider the idea that maybe young children may be viewing this material. I understand that TNT printed a notice to parents notifying them that there could be some unsuitable scenes for young children in the movie, but it never mentioned anything about the host and her comments. I would appreciate it if you would review your material and possibly revise it for the viewers. Sincerely, Natalie Assay. Why does she say her comments? She thinks I'm a transvestite or something? I kind of vaguely remember this. It was that John Travolta scene where he has the time of his life in the front seat of the car. The gal's head disappears out of view, but you know, I didn't say what happened in the front seat of the car. I just said we weren't showing what happened. There are a lot of adults who didn't know what happened in the car either. None of them live in the White House, but, and as to the beer, you know, you try to do this job without beer, honey. You know what scares me about this letter, though?
What?
Oh, thanks, Ernie.
No problem.
This gal is in college. Don't they do that in college anymore? I mean, she was obviously upset about the idea that two people were doing that. Or one person was doing that and the other person was groaning a lot, enjoying that.
Some girls don't like it.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
How many girls don't like it?
I don't know, maybe half.
That many?
I don't know.
We better get back to the movie, okay? So you think 50-50? 50-50 enjoy it? Or 50-50 will do it if necessary?
You're embarrassing me.
We're only getting started in the embarrassing department. Go ahead. Come on, tell me. Tell me what you want.
Girls, don't reveal that to guys.
Oh.